Hello everyone, Ceri the Crafter here, that's C-E-R-I the Crafter, and it's done. We're here. We're at the final stage of the altered book into a scrap journal. Now, I'm not going to talk too much because I can talk as I go through it, but there are a few things I wanted to finish up from the last video, which is video 5, which is where I painted the cover. You saw me do the front. You may note I did come in with a really fine paintbrush and just tickle up the little bits of there that didn't work. The spine turned out beautiful, and I did the back in exactly the same way that I decorated the front. Anyone who knows me knows this is so me in style and colors that you would spot it in a crowd, basically. And I did that on purpose because this is for me, and these are the designs and the likes and colors and these I really want to put on here. So that's that done. So what do you need to know? Right, before we start the flip through, I have decorated the inside of the cover on both back and front. We'll take a look at those in a second. When this was completely dry, I gave it 24 hours to fully dry. I did give it a really thin coat of Mod Podge. Okay, really thin coat. I did say in the previous video, you could use a matte gel medium, you could use possibly a satin varnish, anything if you think it needs it. Now, because some of you have said in the past, you do sometimes get issues with this being sticky. I never have. I thought, right, just in case I'm traveling a bit next year, I use this, which is the wax I normally use to put on the pages of my art journal to stop them sticking. I put a really, really thin coat, and we're talking micro coating here, just a little bit on, took a soft cloth and buffed it in just to prevent it, just in case, because it's going to be in my luggage, it's going to be in my hand luggage. I just saw, and it'll just add an extra layer of waterproofing. Okay, I lost track of how many glue sticks I used in this process, guys. Just know that I just lost track of it. There were 94 pages to decorate. If you add the inside 2 pages as well, that takes it up to 98. So I know it's been quite a protracted process, this series, but forgive me, it took a lot of work to get to where I am today with this. And I am so happy to share this with you. I am super excited. As you can see, even if I let the book go, it doesn't alligator mouth that much. For me, for any of you who have not seen any of the other videos, I have created an altered book, which was a Mother Goose nursery rhyme book into an altered book into a scrap journal. And by the scrap journal I've made, I have made what I call a writing journal. A writing journal means that for me personally, I don't put tags, pockets, cards, anything in. I put writing panels on every single page, decorate the rest of the page. So therefore, wherever I'm going, I can just pull this out and I write on the panels as I feel in the book. Now, so I am going to do my best and try to center this up ever so slightly for you. I think that's probably about right. I'm going to do my best to zoom in to just the edges of this book. So hopefully I don't forget that and move it. So inside the front cover, I just decorated with, these were scraps of papers that were actually in here as well. Also, all of these pieces here, these are painty book pages in that they're basically pages of books that I've cleaned up my spare paint on. So I utilise them in all of this. I had to put a little dragonfly in there because it's me. So this is what the front looked like. Come on, open up. And this is what the back looked like. And I thought, right, keep that in a relatively similar theme. So let's go all the way back to the front and go page by page. Now, I will try and give you as many details of what I did on each page as I can. There are repeated themes. There are repeated bits of ephemera because goodness knows, 98 pages worth, I needed to do repeats. I don't have that much variety to be able to do 98 different pages. So let's start on in. Let's turn it page by page. So this is the very first page that I decorated with you, and I did this on our screen. A lot of these In fact, the majority of these pages were done not in videos. So you'll have to watch the previous videos. They're in the links are in the box below, description box. There's 6 videos in this series, this being number 6. So this sort of set the theme for the journal, although I did say I wanted to make something that was uniquely mine, eclectic and varied, and I think I achieved that. So onto the second page. Now, I didn't do a lot with this page. Obviously it's a page that's going to be used for recording something to do with travel. I wanted to leave spaces because I might put the name of the country I'm in when I use this page. I might put something else in here, like a ticket or I don't know. This one's partially done on purpose because I put a ticket for sailing, I put travel, I put luggage, I've got a compass and things like that. But other than that, it's going to stay like that until I finished it. This one basically just scraps of paper from my stash. This is a great scrap buster, by the way. Goodness knows, I probably halved my scrap supplies doing this. Had to put a dragonfly in again. If you know me, you know some would say dragonfly is my spirit animal, but I mean, I love dragonflies. They mean a lot to me. They're very significant. So even though you're seeing that I've kind of kept very much a nature theme, with a lot of these pages, it's because I'm drawn to natural things. I'm drawn to color. I'm drawn to pattern. I'm drawn to nature itself. I think the best magic in the world is nature itself. So you'll see this theme repeated quite often. Onto here. Had to do a page for bees. Good grief. I love my bumblebees. I have them in the garden every single year. I mean, they say bumblebees are limited in number. I can tell you why. They're in my garden. There are bumblebees everywhere when the season's out. I've got 2 lavender bushes, they're covered in it. I've got wild poppies, they're covered in it. So I love them. And this just called to me. And although it looks really busy, to me, it makes sense. So I love that. I'm not going to name the stamps and things like that, guys. I won't remember. If you see anything that's obviously foam stamped, it's a foam stamp of either my own or someone on PM Artist Studio design team. PM Artist Studio is where you'll find everything that's foam stamped or stenciled from me within this book. There you go. Love that. I did go to butterflies quite often, although I did vary it slightly because they just seemed like the correct accent piece. And also they enabled me to tie colours together. Oh, there's another dragonfly. I didn't realise that was there. This was my mushroom page. You saw me do this, I believe, on screen. As you can see, as I said, I was going to put gold splatters on. I did put gold splatters on. I kind of was thinking I'd like to have done more on this page, but the more that I've seen this page, the more I think enough. It's enough. I mean, I can always add more if I wanted, but I just felt enough is enough. Right. This page here, I would say probably for me personally, this is my weakest pages in this journal. I was a bit stumped. I love the idea of clouds. I wanted to put hot air balloons in here, but I couldn't find any ephemera of any sort in my stash of hot air balloons, and I didn't want to buy anything new. This was all about using what I had. So I went with kestrels or falcons or hawks, whatever these birds are. This one might get something in the future. I'm not sure. There may become, if I do come across hot air balloons, I might pop the odd one in. I don't know, or it could just stay as it is. But in my opinion, as I said, I think this is my weakest page. Love this one. This was, I think the background paper was Happy Mail from someone. They were little panels of Happy Mail. These were from Stamperia rice papers, the violins. I don't know where I found that. That might have just been in a book. I mean, I did use some magazine pieces as well in here. I think I did this one on screen with you. I think I did this one on screen. I'm certain I did this one on screen. And you will see that squirrels did churn up quite often. I think that was the whole Darcy influence. These pieces here are the edges of napkin that I cut and stuck down. See, this was the page. This might have been the page I did for you. I can't remember which. It seems to have been forever since I started this. Definitely a Darcy page. Not sure whether Darcy likes field mice, but I do. All of these, by the way, you'll see them throughout the book. There's something I love to do. I had, oh, what are they called? Sheets of rub-ons that were botanicals and butterflies and things, and I've had them for eons on my shelf and not used them because I am not very good at doing a rub-on directly onto a page. I have so many disasters with them that what I do is I use the edges of book pages, or you know those blank pages at the beginning of the books, and I do the rub-ons on those. Then I put a thin layer of Mod Podge, a thin layer of matte medium over the top, cut them out. Well, I tear them out, to be honest, and I turn them in. I call them these my book page flowers, and I love doing them. So I use them a lot. I don't have any more rub-ons, and I've now used them all up to make all of the labels. So I'm extremely happy to have used them up because they were a nice idea, but for me, they just didn't work. So, but I know people love them, and if they came across my desk again in the future at some point, I might use them or give them another go, or I might just do more of these, which I find far more useful than rubbing directly onto the page. Did I do this with you? I might have done this with you, because I remember commenting about Miriam's fish. Can't remember. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. But you will see that I go back to a nautical or sea theme quite regularly. The ocean means a lot to me. I've spent a lot of my life either working on the ocean, next to the ocean, or being influenced by the ocean. So, another nice page. This page, and I shared this one on my social media. I think I shared it on YouTube community as well. I struggled with this page because I used, as you can see, this background was originally a cleanup sheet from doing metallics, maybe in a color combo, and I stuck the pieces on here to outline my panels, and this was one of the last pages I did because I just couldn't work out what I wanted to do with it. And then all of a sudden, I think it was about 2 o'clock in the morning, I woke up and went, oh, I know what I can do. And I came in here, and for about an hour I worked on this. Then I went back to bed and I went back to sleep. So I'm lucky enough that I can work when I want because I live alone. I'm not going to disturb anyone. And I absolutely adore this page. Someone did say that's very steampunky. I sometimes question what the true definition of steampunk is. For me, this isn't steampunk, but if this is what you perceive as your version of steampunk, then yes, it is steampunk. This to me is just sort of industrial or even nautical because that's a ship store, but I love it. This is one of my favorites. Again, tried embracing. These were stamped pieces that I fussy cut out. These were book page butterflies. I'd made them. I have a video somewhere about book page butterflies or Ceri's paper butterflies or something like that. You're bound to have seen it if you subscribe to me. So happy about that. This was actually a piece out of the original Mother Goose book, and I was really, oh look, I stuck that upside down. That's going to forever bug me. But am I altering it? Like hell I am. I wanted to bring some of the original design into the book itself. So again, bit of a challenge, a black and white page. Wasn't really sure. I created this page, and this is a black with white page, and I created a further page that was white with black. And I did that on purpose to challenge myself to work out how I would decorate it. And I'm pleased with what I did. These were stamped flowers with foam stamps, and I kept it quite minimal. But I love it. It's got a really nice feel to it. This background pages here were actually from a typewriter exam book for schooling, and there were handwritten notes in it that obviously the person learning to type needed to type into text, so into typewriter font. And these were just some washi strips that were stuck over the top. Love this page. I think it's another one like this in here. Again, back to nature for me. This is just a stamped leaf. It was from a red rubber stamp set I have. I have no name of who the stamp is by. This was out of a book and it's almost like a magazine shine to it. I just love this. This was fun. Oh, that reminds me. You will see with throughout this scrap journal, I've done things like little paint swatches. I love doing them, and I do them in two different sizes. And actually, I created a little square block that I did the little one and the big one in, and then I outline them and then I decorate them. Watch out for a launch from me for next month, because I thought, you know what, if I love this and it's useful, someone else is going to as well. So I have worked on a product that will actually help us do this. Fingers crossed, it's going to be in two sizes. And since I created it, I went, oh, that'd be useful for that, and I could do it for that. So bear with me, guys, that one's coming to you. What was this? I want to say this was some of Tracy Fox's papers from the paper pad that she put out last year. Unfortunately, the company that put them out went out of business, so I don't think this is available, but this could easily be replaced by another version of another designer. But I love the papers, and I went, just because they're not able to buy them in the future, I'm not going to not use them because I love them myself. So again, back to that sort of naturey theme. Oh, it's getting dark out there. Again, this background was just a clean up piece of tissue paper from my gel printing. Bit of a painty page there. That was stamped and then I hand painted it. That's a bit of washi tape. Again, there's one of those color swatches again. Loving that. This was also a page that I found reasonably difficult to do, to be honest. I don't know why, but this whole journal offered up some challenges which I really enjoyed. Again, just spare pieces out of my scrap bin with just some stamps, postage stamps, regular stuff, numbers, things like that. And again, simple, but it depends on what I put on this page. I mean, I've left panels. These panels could be written in, I could stamp something, I could stick a watercolor into it. There are so many things I can do with the panels because I have dedicated spaces to create. Now, this one had a bit of a story. This was a pattern, obviously a sewing pattern, which I had in my stash, and it was white. I'd never found a white sewing pattern before, so when I saw this, I collected it. When I did it, the page was incredibly white, and even although I covered up an ugly seam here with washi tape. I put other washi in to try and balance it out, but it was lacking. I then came back to it, as you do, a couple of days later, you look at it again, and I put this very thin washi tape of butterflies in and went, okay, that's fine. And then when I was doing a flip through of it later on, it still didn't look right. And I worked out that the page was just so white. All of the other pages, there's no white pages in here. So I tore some book pages down and put the panels in, and that little bit of a change from white to off-white settled this into being for me. And then I found a little blue butterfly, and that's another one of those rub-ons onto a book page, and I went, that will work, that's perfect, I loved it. So this is now finished. This was a complete page that was made up of clean up book pages, the ones I showed you earlier, and I came in with foam stamps from Pierre Martin Studio and stamped leaves onto it. And then I already had these leaves stamped onto book pages because you can see the text on them, and I fussy cut them out and put them down, a little bit of a label, bit of a die cut here, and I found this green beetle and I went, that just complements, gives a bit of a focal point without being too much of a focal point. Again, back to the nature thing for me. This was just scraps, basically very similar to, try not to move the book out of line, similar to this. And I do this very often when I get to the point, and I have a box that I throw the scraps into. I will sometimes do something like this in a journal, or I'll make a master board, and I just literally did this. This was a foam stamp by me. I think it's called Numbers Block Outline, and I think that's a damask stamp from Darcy Sanders. This might be scattered numbers. It's another foam stamp. So you can see there's lots of different stuff. I think that's crosses by Froyle Davies. Or is that sketchy dots? Anyway, I can't go. There's too many things on the page. This one was a real challenge. I created this out of painty sticky labels. Like I will get sheets of Avery labels, and as I'm painting and working, I clean up onto them, and then later on I'll come in and stamp the labels, and I use them. If you've ever received anything from me, there's usually one of these labels on the back of a package or an envelope with a signature or my business stamp on it or something. So that was those. Again, I had round labels, and then I just basically used a cutter to create these circles and then carried the theme through. And I like this, and I think these are Dina Wakley sayings that are stuck onto it. Now, this page is quite, I want not to go say emotional, but it means a little more than you probably perceive. Everything on here is scrap. There's another one of those. However, this here, and this paper here is actually the wallpaper, one that there and that there. It's the wallpaper out of my mother's old bedroom when she passed away about 8 years ago. So for me, this page just screams to my mother, and she would have loved this page. She loves flowers. She loved butterflies. So for me, this was quite an emotional make, but I loved it. Now, this page, when I created it, I think I showed it in one of the previous videos, and I said I wanted to make it a songbird page, and this was it. It's how am I going to explain this? It looks a bit random and cluttered, okay? And that was a purposeful move, because out of my kitchen window at the end of my garden, I've got a lilac tree. And it's where I've got my bird feeder, and I've got the fatty ball thing. It's where I hang things for the birds to eat during the winter. And when you look at that, this is how you see the birds. They're all dotted all over the branches, waiting their time to get to the feeders. So that's what inspired this page. These little strips are just little bits of washi tape. I think art is everywhere. That might be from a Stamperia pack of some sort. I can't remember, to be honest with you. This one, again, it's funny because when I create a journal, I usually do this sort of thing. When I create an art journal, I do this sort of painty background. And this was actually part of one of my digitals, or a printable, which is at PM Artist Studio on their printables. So when I created this page, I was a bit, oh, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And I had these stamped out. These are foam stamps by Darcy Sanders, and I'd fussy cut them out. And I went, you know, daisies work for me. And then literally I found this in my rub-ons, and it just came together. But I can't say it was an easy one to do, this one. But I love it. Now it's done, I love it. It suits me. Oh, this is the other one from those handwritten notes in the back of the shorthand and typing book. Love that. To be honest with you, I had much more of this. I would have done so many more pages of this. I just loved this whole field. And these strips of washi, they're not washi tape. They're strips of washi. They look like offcuts from labels or something. And I received them in Happy Mail very, very long time ago. And I use them and I love them. And it just added a little something to the page. Love this. Absolutely love this. There was a week, I want to say it was a couple of weeks ago, where Darcy Sanders was making leaves, and at the same time I had Darcy's video on. I went, you know what, I can do leaves, because I've already do leaves, and I already had some of the Tim Holtz, I think they're called tattered leaves, and I had some of this. So this was a book page, so I just freehand cut it out, drew in some stuff, stuck it down. These were die cuts already had. I found a dragonfly piece. I think that was a Tracy Fox piece as well. I had this already stamped. So it came together really quite quickly. I think once in your mind, or in my mind anyway, you decide on a theme, or you decide on a colour, because all of the colours in here came out of here with the exception of green. But green complemented these colours, which is why I did it. So I think once you've got an idea of the direction you're going in, things just fall into place. This one, again, was tricky, right? This was draw liner paper. So actually this page smells beautiful, but it smells. And I put it down because, again, I wanted to challenge myself. These here were some trims that I made and I had in a box. Out of my painted papers, and I doodled on them, those put in, and I couldn't work out what to do. And then I found this here, and I'm going to read this, but believe me, I'm not good at reading stuff live. It says, some folk love topiary, evergreen trees and shrubs clipped into simple and fantastic shapes. Others despise them. I am of the former persuasion, but I do wonder if plants themselves have feelings and opinions about the ultimate form of horticultural control freakery. So I thought, you know what, I found this and I went, that fits perfectly there. So I kind of made some faux topiaries and put a couple of little creatures in. I went, yeah, that's fine. I do feel this needs something here and it might need something there or something there. But again, it will happen in the course of me using it. Back to this sort of vintagey book page type page. That's another one of those washi label offcut things. That was a clear flower label. I used that, I think we used it about 3 pages time, I think. But again, just love it. It just speaks to me, this whole journal. Now, this is another one that is going to become a travel page, obviously with the world and the world maps on this. This was just tissue paper I put on here. And I do think that when I do a page for a journal or an exhibition, or not an expedition or an adventure somewhere, I will possibly add other elements on here, but I wanted to decorate it so it determined that it was a travel journal book, a page. Okay, I went down the bug route here. I've got some bug stamps that they're clear stamps, can't remember where they're from. These little ant stamps, I call them ant stamps. I think they're from a German company called Maki, M-A-K-I. Maki stamps, they're red rubber stamps, and I had those, so that just added another element. And it just basically kept this one simple, but I love it. I love the colour of the paper background to it. This is the other page. So I had the black with white. This is the white with black. I was stuck for the longest time on this page until I found this in my stash, which is a stamped daffodil, which I, again, painted with watercolors, probably watercolor pencils looking at this. Again, there's one of those paint swatch strips. I kept it quite simple because I didn't find anything else that worked for me here. Now, I have a feeling during the course of time, this might become a Welsh page because the daffodil is the emblem of the Welsh, it's the Welsh flower. And I couldn't find a little Welsh dragon to put on here or little Welsh flag. So I have a feeling this could become a Welsh page. I don't know, I just have a feeling about that. This was an interesting one to do. These were strips of washi tape, all of this background. And I thought, oh, that looks really good. And then I got stuck and went, what the heck am I going to do with this? Because the back was so dominant, I wasn't sure what to do with the front. So I started off by putting in the blank labels to break up the complexity of the page. I then found this in my stash of those rub-on labels, created that, had a bit of book page. There's that rose again. Obviously, I love that rose. And then I found little elements to put in. And this strip here and here are fussy cuts from the original Mother Goose nursery rhyme book, which I used. So I pulled that into here. This is not my style. I love it. I like what it looks like, but I probably would never create like this normally. So it was good. I was outside my comfort zone. This, love this. I have had this, which is actually a cleanup of a fern, which I did on my gel plate. And I've had this piece of scrap in my scrap bin for absolutely ages. And this was perfect because this background, the moment I stuck it down, I went, oh, that's going to be a problem because it just didn't sing to me. But as I worked and worked, it came together. This is just a strip of washi butterflies, little pieces. And I thought, you know what? Maybe the theme for this is just green. which is why I sort of pulled in things. I think that's a bit of an Edith Holden book. This is just a bit of paper I stamped green upon. I think I put green around this. It was just stuff. But you know, at the end of the day, I quite like that. It wasn't, I had no direction, I just went for it. And that's what eventuated. Now, I'm absolutely certain I've shown this in a previous video. If I haven't, if I didn't decorate, I think I didn't decorate this on screen. I think this was, I shared it in the previous one. Everything you see on here are fussy cuts from the original Mother Goose nursery rhyme book. And what I did is I kept it really plain because I think as time goes by, I will come in with colour pencils and I will probably use this almost as a colouring book page so that I'll colour all of these in. I won't use watercolours or paints on it because I don't know that the integrity of the paper will hold on to it. But I know with coloured pencils, I can come in and just do delicate stuff in here. So I'm really looking forward to that. That will be something maybe I get stuck at an airport one day and I'll play away and get this all sorted. So one day this will be a colourful page. So stuck by there you go. Again, this was just a random page. These are just painty papers. That was a scrap of something. And I went, you know what? It says ocean to me. So I stuck a fish on and put some, I literally at this point, I just put anything on this page. And I'm pleased how it turned out. It just, again, wasn't planned. It's obviously of a theme, which is blue, white, and ocean. And that's just the way it turned out, guys. And I think sometimes just letting your gut guide you is a really good way to create. Love, love, love this page. All of these papers came out of my principal, which is lodged with PM Artist Studio. I say principal because they call them principals. I call them digitals. So this is quite a large digital pack from me. Meant for collage, which is just what I did, and it's all based on my gel prints that I've created over the time, some of my favorites, and I absolutely love this. And this just worked. It just, you know, when you get to a point you go, it's done. I was struggling to find something to put up there, and then the moment I did find that and put it down, I went, it's done, we're finished, and I'm so pleased. I mean, eventually it'd be interesting to what I put into here. Not sure what's going to get written in here. Maybe it'll be small poems, maybe phrases, maybe, I don't know. Again, this one, did I do this with you? I might have done this one with you actually. Mother Goose. I found a goose. I didn't even know I had one. So again, I put the goose on here. These were just pieces from my scrap box. This was from the Mother Goose book. So were these pieces here. And then I just put one of my swatches down. And these two little frogs having a moment. So again, I will possibly come in and colour these in, but you never know. I might leave them as they are. I like the fact that I paid homage to the original book in here. I've done that a few times within this scrap journal. Oh, and here's another. Right, this is a piece fussy cut from the Mother Goose nursery rhyme book, and I came in and coloured it in with pencils. So as you can see, this is how these sort of pages will look once I've finished. I literally was thinking riverfront here, and that was because of the frog. So I would see a kingfisher on the riverbank. I would see fish or minnows or whatever, or sticklebacks within the stream. I would see ferns by the edges. There would be a dragonfly because it's my riverside. Another kingfisher. This was a strip. I want to say there's a paper pad by Stamperia called Atelier. I think that means studio. It's all to do with art and artists, and this was a little strip that was just, I think it might even been on the cover, and then I found this stamped piece and put that in. So love that. This is another one that speaks to me. Well, you all speak to me. This was not one this is so not what I would normally do. The background was actually gift wrap tissue. I'm sure I did this one on screen because I think I remember hunting through for blue flowers. Very much a blue page. I did take this out. This is a quote or poem by Burns. I took this out of an Edith Holden book because it needed something. but very simple, but I think very beautiful at the same time. These flowers are stamped and these leaves are stamped. You saw them from the previous page. These are actually just clear labels. Like this, music has been very large in my life. Obviously, I used to be a performer, a dancer, and I used to sing. So for me, music's really important. Music's sort of the backdrop to my life, and I wanted to do a music page. And not only that, I had loads of music paper. This here is actually a strip from the Mother Goose book. I think these are stickers. Okay, these here, these dots, were from an origami paper pack. Now, I used in this book, and I have said this before, I used origami papers, tissue papers, washi papers. I wanted the papers I was covering the backgrounds with to be as thin as possible. And that's why you'll see that very often you can see there, so I didn't do a fold. I didn't want to bulk the spine up so much that it actually broke the spine of the book. I mean, over time, who knows what's going to happen? I mean, I've no idea how long this journal's going to take me to fill it. It's going to see in and out of bags, suitcases, that it could get damaged along the way. And if it does, I'll repair it. That's what I'll do. It will just take on another layer of character. But again, I was struggling what to do, so I just pulled out the thought of green. So I went through everything and went, what have I got is green? And I found these pieces. And because this had yellow on it, I went, right, I'll allow myself to have yellow as well, because that fern is a greeny yellow, and to make green you need blue and yellow. So I just went with it. I do feel this could potentially have more on it, but I don't know, because I don't know what I'm going to put on here. Again, this was just old book pages. Old book pages, bit of a washi label, bit of a fussy cut, a couple of labels. Again, right, the background papers here are from my Printables digital download kit that with PM Artist Studio. These are two of the leaves that are stamped with that red rubber set that I have no idea who it's from. Tim Holtz. That's Tim Holtz, Tim Holtz, Tim Holtz. I think that's Tim Holtz as well. The labels you're seeing in this book, if they're plain, they've been stamped and cut out by me. If there's something like this or this, they're very likely to be a Tracy Fox label, because you know I like a Tracy Fox label. Loved this page. This was just beautiful. It just came together. The paper here, this is actually tissue. It dictated the decision to do yellow and these sort of tan colors. I did find another one of these flowers and I nearly put it on here, but I went, no, I'm going to save it for another day. So I still can't remember who did this. It came in Happy Mail, and there was either 2 or 3 of these little flowers, and I've kept them really safe. So bits of washi tape as accent here. That's another one of my paint swatches done. And then we're at the back cover. And as you now see the inside covers, but they make sense now you see the journal. Do you know what I mean? So if you saw these, you'll understand why, because this is what this looks like. So guys, this has been a very long journey. It's been a huge amount of work, but it's been a labor of love. There are days when I haven't loved it, but there's been a labor of love. I now have my 2026 journal ready to go. 2026 is going to be a big year for me. In the eyes of the British government, I retire. Don't worry, I'm never going to retire. I think I'd go insane if I had to retire. I will still be creating, but it's a big birthday. It's my 66th birthday in January. So that whole year is about basically just this journal and what I'm going to put into it. And I'm not sure what I'm going to use this for. I don't want to journal as I would on a daily basis, say, or put some. I think this is going to be open a page and how does that page make me feel? Am I going to write some poetry? Am I going to put phrases in? Am I going to put little bits that I remember in here? Am I going to put emotions in it? Am I going to use gratitudes? Am I going to use psalms? Am I going to use music, lyrics? Am I going to write notes to my future self, maybe? I don't know. I'm loving that. So thank you once again, guys, for the patience. Thank you for the support. I want to say, without being too big-headed about this, this is probably one of the best things I've artistically created as far as a journal goes. This, I am uber proud of this. So proud of this. So anyway, I'm going to stop gassing and let you go. So guys, as you know, I'm Ceri the Crafter. That's Ceri the Crafter. And watch this space. I've got more projects coming up that are going to be in series form as we move forward. I'm going to try and do 1 or 2 of them a year. Depends on how the muse takes me, but I've already got another 2 lined up to do. So take care, guys. Bye.